In 2023, I was a best-selling author. I came out with a #1 book on Amazon. I was still very much kind of unraveling, but kind of also still wanting to be in the Democratic Party. I think back on that now as I just wanted people to like me rather than me actually caring whether or not these policies are actually hurting people. People ask me all the time how I can be gay and how I could have also voted for Trump, and I kind of want to get into this because I've been seeing this walk away trend for months on TikTok, and I kind of want to tell it from my perspective. So this is probably something that you've heard a million times before, but basically I grew up very Republican. My parents were very staunch MAGA supporters in 2015, 2016. I hated it very much. It was always a fight or an argument in the house. Always, you're just a racist and you're just a bigot. And it's so crazy for me to think back on that now because, like, what kind of Kool-Aid was I drinking? So I ended up voting for Biden in 2020. I had blue hair and everything in high school. I will not show those pictures only because I'm embarrassed and it makes me want to. Basically, I work in healthcare. I worked in the medical field for about 6 years. I originally started the year before COVID in 2019, shortly after my 18th birthday. When COVID started to come around, I had gotten licensed in the position that I was working in. I really started to see the weaponization of the COVID pandemic, especially towards healthcare workers from the Biden administration and people losing their jobs, us being threatened with, potential prosecution, which that's actually crazy to even think about because no one believes us when we tell people this, but it actually happened. However, I was still in my Delulu phase, and I ended up marching for Black Lives Matter twice in my city in Tennessee with two of my best friends at the time who have since unfriended me. But anyway, I started to see kind of things not really making sense when we started to talk to children. And I remember the first time I ever went to a gay bar, and it was in October, and it was during a weeknight. It was on a school night, okay? And I remember me, my friend at the time, and my mom had went, and we were sitting behind this, little 6-year-old and his mom in a gay bar at, 10 o'clock at night. I remember thinking then, okay, that's kind of weird. Even my friend had said something at that point of, because this was, a age 12 and up event where, if you were below that age level, you were not even supposed to be in there. Anyway, however, I had continued to, Orange man bad, Republicans bad, which thinking back on it, I can't genuinely remember a bad experience I've ever had with a Republican, but I can definitely think of hundreds and hundreds of bad experiences that I've had with people that were in my own party. Back in 2023, I had started looking at other kind of podcasts and YouTubers like Blair White, Charlie Kirk. I started watching a lot of Jubilee, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, why are the conservatives actually making more sense? Anyway, I kept watching and just kind of taking in information, and I was like, wait a minute, the leftists aren't making sense anymore. This is not a party that thrives on love, kindness, and accepting anymore. You're either all in, brainwashed, or you're just completely ousted, which is exactly what happened to me. In 2023, I was a best-selling author. I came out with a #1 book on Amazon. I was still very much kind of unraveling, but kind of also still wanting to be in the Democratic Party. I think back on that now as I just wanted people to like me rather than me actually caring whether or not these policies are actually hurting people, which they do. I ended up coming forward with a situation that happened where a 24, 25-year-old woman years ago who was in the author community decided to take advantage of me and started, talking with me when I was 14 years old. And I'd always believed, believe victims because that was something that we kind of preached about. But when I seen all of that being shoved under the rug and people turning on me, who was the victim in that situation, I started to really realize that it's not believe victims. It's only believe victims if they agree with your agenda and that they're women, pretty much. That kind of confirmed it in my own brain of, okay, this isn't something that I need to be supporting because I'm very much against grown people talking to children, especially inappropriately, because why are you married with a kid and in your mid-20s and you're talking to a 14-year-old online. Especially seeing a lot of the women in my genre who are liberal supporting this behavior and acting like this is not a big deal, or like she didn't do it, even though there was proof. And like, whatever happened to believing victims, right? Oh wait, only if they fit your agenda. Then we listen to them. Okay, got it. When you're a leftist, the very first thing that you learn is emotional manipulation. You're taught how to manipulate emotions, manipulate facts, manipulate people's experiences, because leftists always say, well, I want to hear your experience. Your experience is valid. But what they actually mean is that your experience is only valid if your experience mirrors theirs. And supporting women, to them, actually means I'm gonna hide the stuff that you're doing that is weird, gross, and inappropriate and should not happen and potentially illegal, to be able to say that I support women. Accountability and honesty and transparency means nothing to these people, because it meant nothing to me and all the other leftist friends that I had, and in the spaces that I was in, not even as an author, but just as a gay person, you know? Being gay does not revolve around my entire identity. Quite frankly, I think it's the least important thing about me. It doesn't matter. I think it's obvious when people meet me, but it's also like, I don't really care. And that doesn't make sense to me, because we sit on these values of you have to be a certain skin tone, or you have to have a certain level of attraction to like the same sex or whatever to be validated or to like be important. There's an old saying that goes, you can have a college degree and still be an idiot. You can still be gay, trans, black, white, brown, purple, or blue and still be a shitty person. I don't want to be liked based on the fact that I'm gay. That's completely ridiculous. But if you say that to a leftist, then suddenly you hate yourself or you hate them. And it's like, no, I just hate what you're basically putting me into, which is a box that I never agreed upon to begin with.
For more great videos, download the Walkaway Social app at walkawaysocial.com. Share your testimonial and join our community.